Hey Pioneer fans, my name is Cruz Lopez and we're back today with another episode of the Pile Pack Pod. Today we have our special guest, Rylie Mundell. Rylie is a senior here at the University of Denver. She's on our gymnastics team. She's an all-around competitor. Rylie, can you just kind of go into what your life with gymnastics here at the University of Denver has been like, and what your life outside of gymnastics has also been?
Yeah, I like to think that I'm definitely keep myself busy, but everything that I do, I think, works together in a way. So yes, I'm busy with school. Yes, I'm busy with gym, and I like that. And I think that being an athlete has made me a better student, and being a student has made me a better athlete. So I just work hard, play hard, and keep moving forward.
Definitely. What inspired you to kind of choose DU? Because, I mean, obviously you might have had a large range of options, but what went into that decision?
Well, I was really young when I decided to come to DU. I went on my first unofficial visit in, I think, the 8th grade, and started talking to the coaches here at DU before that, so probably in 7th grade. And at that time, I didn't know what I wanted to study. So a lot of my decision was based on the academic reputation of the school and also the reputation of the team and the culture and the environment that I would be getting myself into as far as athletics is concerned. So I based most of my decision off of the coaches and how I felt when I was talking to them. Obviously, I trusted them quite a bit to treat me well and also to encourage me and help me to grow as a whole person and to provide me with a team that would support me as well. So yeah, and then as far as academics goes, DU obviously has an excellent reputation.
Definitely. What's your major?
Physics.
How did you kind of decide upon that?
That was kind of an interesting decision too. I tend to be indecisive and like to do a lot of everything, so I have a bunch of minors as a result, as well as my physics major. But I remember in high school I learned that physics is kind of useful in a lot of ways because it teaches you how to think and how to ask the right questions and how to find those answers. So I knew that if I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do something in STEM, physics is probably a good place to start. And I just kind of kept going from there.
Nice. Well, I on your bio on the DU Gymnastics page, I noted that you recently completed an internship or some sort of program with NASA. Can you kind of dive into that a little bit? What was that like for you?
Yeah, so I came across this email that I'd had in my inbox since freshman year about an internship called NASA SARP, and you could only apply after your junior year going into your senior year. So I applied. I was really hopeful, really nervous, but I got in. And the whole idea of this program was two different things. So the first part is you spend the summer flying on board NASA aircraft. So they have this entire fleet of airplanes that they use for airborne science research, which is really fun. And you get to just ask all of the scientists on this mission how their instruments work. And you can imagine a normal airliner. It was a DC-8 that we've flown for the most part. And they just took all the seats out, took all the instruments, or the seats out, the air conditioning, everything, and they just filled it up with all of these crazy instruments. And you just got to kind of learn about what went into the process of doing mostly atmospheric research. So that was pretty cool. And then the second part of the program, you were split into 4 different research groups, and mine was the oceans group, and you got to pick a project based on that. So I used Landsat. Landsat is a satellite program owned by NASA and USGS, and I used all of that data to study giant kelp in Otago, New Zealand for the past 5 decades or so.
Awesome. Well, what was your favorite part about that? Is it something you look to pursue after school, or is it kind of maybe an interest but maybe not?
Yeah, so I'm still wavering a little bit on that. I'm still kind of deciding if grad school is the way for me to go. I do want to pursue a GIS certificate here at DU, and I want to pick up my project this summer, I think. And I guess those are my immediate steps, and then I'll see where I want to go from there.
Awesome. Well, what is it kind of like being a full-time student athlete? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of balance. You have to make sure you're maintaining your grades, but you also have to make sure you're putting a lot of time into the gym and making sure you guys are successful in your competitions and whatnot.
Let's see. I think in some ways it's easier, in some ways it's harder than being a normal student. I think it's easier in the sense that we have access to lots of resources and lots of support, which is really nice. And it minimizes the number of decisions you have to make, and you're almost accountable to more people, so it's easier to stay on task, in my opinion, right? I'm going to do my homework because it's not only important to my success, but it's also important to my team's success because I have to stay eligible, and I want to make sure we have a good team GPA and all of that. So it's less decisions, right? Like, I only have so much time to do this, so I'm going to get it done when I have free time. And, people are going to be like, great job, great work. Like, it's just necessary. Versus being a normal student, I think you have a little bit more leverage and a little bit more freedom to choose, which is harder. But on the other hand, we are busy. Even on our off days, we spend hours in the Ritchie Center doing various things such as team meetings and getting recovery and treatment. And I think that's the invisible part of athletics that people often forget about. I mean, we do laundry too. Like, nobody thinks like, oh, you're going to spend 30 minutes on a Friday doing your team laundry, but like, that's how it works, right? And that's all part of being an athlete. So you're busy, but it's worth it.
Definitely not. This year I've noticed the bond between you and the other girls has been really special. Seems like you have a really good group this year. Last year you guys made it to the Final Four. It looks like you guys are going to make another really good push for that. What's going through your mind right now as you head into your final home meet and you guys look to make that push again?
Honestly, I have the most calm sense of confidence that I've ever had with this team before. I think everyone really knows what they need to do to be successful. There's not a single person that I doubt on the team because I've seen them put in the numbers from day one of mandatory practices, and even before that in the summer. We train all summer. So I know without a doubt that everybody is prepared to do what they need to do to be successful, and we don't have to be perfect to get there either. So that gives us a sense of freedom and pride.
Definitely. What has your leadership role been like this year, given you're now a senior? A lot of the girls are probably looking up to you because you have experience, one in the Final Four, but also just in some of those harder times. How has that leadership role been for you this year?
My team makes it so easy for me. They really do. Oh, you have no idea. They're so sweet. And they're all great people. I mean, whatever problems or challenges arise are just so small in the grand scheme of things. So I really haven't had to do much, but I think the most important thing I can do is just making sure I'm working hard and setting a good pace for everyone and setting a standard of excellence in the sense that we can be confident in ourselves and confident in each other. And I think just doing my best to check in with people when I can, see if they need help. Share my experience, things that I've learned along the way. That's about it. I mean, how lucky am I?
Yeah. What kind of inspired you to really pick up gymnastics? I mean, obviously you said you loved watching Denver gymnastics growing up since you're a Colorado native. What really went into that decision as well? I mean, like, who inspired you?
I think I started gymnastics just because I was always bouncing around when I was a kid. I loved just rolling around the house, playing on the playground, being upside down. So it seemed pretty natural, and most gymnasts start pretty young. So I think I started when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And then I just really enjoyed it. So I kept up with it, and the rest sort of followed. And yeah, you're right. I've been going to Denver gymnastics meets since I think I was about 7. I have a shadow box in my room of all of the tickets from competitions I've ever gone to. And the first one I think is from like 2008. So it's pretty cool to look back and see that. And, that was at a time when I didn't even know what skills the girls were doing on the team. So
it's pretty awesome. What do you think your favorite memory with DU Gymnastics has been in your 4 years you've been here?
Oh, I hate this question. I got asked this question yesterday, actually, and I just couldn't give a good answer. I ended up telling a story about practice because it is one of my favorite memories, but there really isn't one that I could pick. I love traveling with my teammates. I love just having a good time, and I love all of those moments that we've come out on top and been successful, but also bonding when things don't work out necessarily is important too. Any excuse to laugh with my teammates is definitely a worthwhile memory. And you can never discount all of those big program wins. I mean, those are huge, but I think people put a lot of weight on those because they don't see what goes in behind the scenes to get there. So, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot to look back on fondly.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to answer. Just kind of going back to what it takes to be a gymnast, it's obviously a very physically taxing thing. It's not something you can just jump out there and go do a bunch of flips. No one can actually just go do that. The work you guys put in is incredible. I guess what I wanted to ask is, What's your typical off season look like? I mean, obviously you said you don't really have an off season given you practice a lot in the summer. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, after season, we get about 3 weeks off of everything, which is nice. And then we get a week where we build back in with just conditioning. And then we start up again, slowly adding basics and things like that into the gym. Strength training being our priority because that's the foundation for everything. And then otherwise, we train through the summer. Of course, all of this is not mandatory. It's optional. So I guess some of their sports call them captain's practices, I think, or captain's workouts. I don't really know. But, yeah, we train throughout the summer because that's just what it takes to be where we want to be and also to be safe and to be able to enjoy it. Yeah, so, I mean, we train in the summer 4 days a week with weightlifting and being in the gym. And then it just goes up from there in the fall when official practices start. I think our official practices and our preseason last longer than most other sports. Some sports have like a couple weeks or a month or two for preseason, but our preseason training starts in September, and then it goes all the way through December to our first meet, and then summer is our off season. But like I said, we're still training, we're still in the gym.
When you're not in the gym and you're not in the classroom, what's something you like to do, like a hobby you have?
I have lots of hobbies. There's not much I don't like to do. Of course, in the summer I like to be outside hiking, camping, sleeping with bears, just doing whatever. And then I also like lots of crafty things like knitting and crocheting and coloring and whatever. And then I like baking too. So sometimes I bring treats into the gym because, that puts a smile on everyone's face. So it's a quick way to buy friendship. And I like my dogs. I don't know. I just like to do stuff.
Nice. Well, you said you bring goodies into the gym. What's your favorite thing to bake?
People say my chocolate chip cookies are really good. I kind of have my own recipe. I start with like the back of the chocolate chip bag, but then I like cut the butter in half, cut the brown sugar, or keep the brown sugar the same, cut the white sugar down, change the chocolate chips around a little bit. I just I change a bunch of stuff and then they come out pretty good. So
seems like you're a very creative mind in your own way.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to think about things and why they work, and I think thinking is fun. So.
Definitely. If you had one place you could go with no restrictions on how much it costs, where would you go for like a vacation?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny you should ask this because me and a couple of my teammates were recently approved for a summer school scholarship to go study abroad for a week. Yeah, it was really exciting. We often apply for summer school classes, and the difference is that they're starting now to offer these 10-day summer school study abroad courses, and yeah, we were fortunate enough to be approved. So I'm not sure yet, but I think I'm going to South Korea, so I'm very excited and grateful for that. I'm definitely excited to see different parts of the world that I've never been to before, but honestly, I'm not picky. I kind of want to see it all.
Is there a favorite climate you have? Like, you more of like the cold weather? Or, I mean, you've lived in Colorado, so I mean, you're accustomed to it. But do you like being in the tropical, warm, beachy areas? Or
yeah, I do. I actually started learning how to surf last summer when I was working for NASA. I was out in California, so I guess that's another hobby that I kind of have, but I need more practice at. So yeah, I think I definitely like that warmer weather. But I think it'd be cool to go somewhere cold as well.
Nice. If you were asked one hidden talent you have at a party or just by someone random, what would you tell them?
Oh gosh. Let's see. One hidden talent. Well, can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's Brittany? So every year for the past 4 years, I've been making up secret talents because Brittany does a social media questionnaire. And every year I make up secret ones because she uses it for trivia during our meets. So, when you look up and it's like, which Denver gymnast likes to read or blah, blah, blah. So I think at one point I told her I could make balloon animals underwater. That one didn't make the cut. I've never made the cut really with any of my fake ones. So that's kind of a bummer. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's just say that my secret talent is I can make balloon animals underwater.
I'd say that's pretty good. I mean, I'd pay to see that.
Yeah.
you've lived in Denver, the Denver area your whole life. So what's one place you really love in the Denver area that you would recommend people who have never been to Denver go?
Ooh. I have a special spot in my heart for Granby, Colorado, because my family goes there every so often. It's right next to RMNP, Rocky Mountain National Park. There's an entrance up there. And, of course, you can go to Lake Granby. There's this really beautiful hike called, I think, Strawberry Lake up there. It's kind of hidden and out of the way. There's just a lot to do, so I would say go up in that area. It's just past Winter Park, so if you, want the hustle and bustle of, like, a big mountain town, then you can go to Winter Park, but it's a little bit quieter and a little bit more hidden. And then you can hit Bojo's on the way back for some pizza.
Definitely. What's your go-to Bojo's order, or favorite pizza from Bojo's?
It would be between like a classic pepperoni or a margarita pizza.
It's a pretty good choice. If you didn't do gymnastics, what sport do you think you would have ended up in if you did end up in a sport?
Oh, okay. We talk about this all the time on the team. I think maybe I've always kind of liked the idea of being a swimmer, but I also think I have potential as like a lacrosse player. But that's a big if, because my hand-eye coordination is not great. I loved softball as a kid. I don't really know much about like NCAA softball, but maybe if that's like a thing.
It is.
Okay, it is.
Yeah.
Great. I don't really know much about the ball sports out there. Maybe I'd join that team.
Nice. Well, obviously a big night coming up on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So what do you look forward most to with that senior night, your final home meet, and then what are you asking for from fans? Obviously, we want to get as many people to the meet as possible to make it a really special one for the last meet for the seniors.
Oh, gosh. We love the energy in Magnus, and it's been really exciting to see our crowd grow. From my freshman year was 2020 and COVID, and we weren't allowed to have fans. And so we were competing in Hamilton, which is, the little tiny small gym that most teams just use for practice now. And like I said, there was cardboard cutouts of fans at some of those meets that we went to. So it's really exciting to see the crowd grow. And I think it would be really memorable and special to have a lot of people show out for us and support us and bring that energy. And I think overall, I'm just looking forward to that last night in Magnus with all of my class together, because we are a very special class. We've come so far and we're all so different, and yet we love each other so much. So I think it'll be a good time.
Definitely. Well, thank you for your time. Best of luck on Sunday. We'll be cheering you on through the rest of the season. So
thank you. Thanks.